actually, you know what, you're not thinking about money now, which is good, but at some point you have to think about how we make this thing sustainable. Okay? Just because I believe in going away from the conventional NGO model, where everyone has cup in hand, looking to the West to fund our initiatives. I am a strong believer in Africans being able to solve their own problems. Right? So at some point you may want to think about. So I think I said two questions, but there are more statements.
Okay.
Sustainability. I think that needs to come. You need to start thinking about that. It's very important. If you have any ideas, if there are things you thought about, you can share. I don't know.
Just to share briefly about sustainability. So yes, I will have to start thinking about money. And that's why I also mentioned that I am the kind of person who I can find business opportunities and make money out of it. But I'm the kind of person who also uses cost-based marketing. If you realize, I am marketing courses. And I wasn't going to do an NGO model kind of thing. I've actually been speaking to my mentor, Dr. AC Ansar, and we've decided that I'm going for a social entrepreneurship because I will need that sustainability factor. If I go for an NGO model, I'm dependent on NGOs, and then I'm dependent on donors. So that's how come I'm able to do my shared selling. I'm going to go forward into other forms of branding. But then it's actually something I have to sit down and think about. So we could actually just have that discussion. Maybe if you have any ideas for ways I could make money to sustain our brand.
Did you bring any shells?
Oh, unfortunately, because of my hoarding tactics.
I already have a child in texturing, so SH, so please bring me one and I can help spread the news for you.
I'm hoarding.
I also want to know about what happens when you finish with HSC.
Okay.
What's the plan? You also mentioned the fact that you don't know where this is going. I feel for people who are even in business and know where they are going, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah.
So you might have to start thinking about where you are going. What keeps you on course.
Yes.
This is the commitment.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Excellent. Well done. Without further ado, we'll move on to the next stage of today's session Friday.
Yes.
Before I introduce our speaker for today, can I just remind all that we put our phones on silent so that we don't interrupt the speaker when he's talking. Also, if you didn't sign in before you sat down, please do so at the end of the event. The form is still outside. And also take a copy of our feedback forms and tell us what you honestly think about the event and let us know so we can better ourselves for the upcoming year. Okay, so this afternoon, or this evening, we are being spoken to by Mr. William Ofori. Can I ask, is it Dr. or William?
No, William.
Okay. And he is the country manager for AstraZeneca Ghana. I'll let Mr. Ofori tell us about his numerous accolades. But I can say that he's a fine gentleman in the times that I've come into contact with him. And he'll be speaking to us about the importance of branding. So please put your hands together. Welcome.
I passed. Good. I passed some pieces of papers around. Has everybody got one? Pass on to everybody. In terms of introduction, I'll keep it short and simple. Because 2 days ago, I had something very funny on the radio. I think it was one of these talks, anniversary, whatever talks, you know. And they kept going on about introducing the speaker and on and on and on and on about everything he had done. And from where I sit and look at things, I found it very amusing. Because when you hear Bill Gates being introduced,
Corey, country manager for AstraZeneca. And for those of you who don't know AstraZeneca, it means that you are healthy. Or you haven't grown old enough to suffer from those ailments. But it's one of the big research-based multinational companies. A lot of people didn't know about us until Pfizer wanted to buy us, and the thing started going to billions and billions, and people are like, these guys weren't that much, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wear two hats, being in the healthcare profession, and also I have a second hat in management finance, and probably a third hat in entrepreneurship. So it's one of my dreams. The fourth hat in giving back to society. I think the greatest contentment in life is to be able to give back to society. And that's why I'm a Rotarian. Good. So you have some pieces of paper, and I would like all of you to close your eyes for just 10 seconds. Just close your eyes and think of the color yellow. Gently close your eyes, think about the color yellow. And now think of bright yellow. Open your eyes. Think of the first company, brand, or anything that comes to mind with that color you had in your mind. And write it down. A color, a brand, an item, a logo, anything with that bright yellow you thought about. Everybody written something? Everybody written something?
Yes.
Or anybody needs a pen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, can we start reading it out? What do you write? 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 What do you write?
Caterpillar.
What do you write? What do you write?
Smiley face logo.
What do you write? What do you write? What do you write? What do you write? Have you seen the power of brand? Nobody communicated with each other. We thought about the color. And 70% of you wrote MTN. They have sold you the brand. Simple as that. Trust me. That's a good lesson about branding. Okay. So, as you can see, which direction does this go now? Is it connected? Right. So we're going to talk briefly about branding and what brands are about. But I'm going to look at branding from all angles. So very often when we talk about branding, we think, is it about a product? Is it about an item? Is it about a company? Or is it about, but you know, the world has become a market-oriented world. And as you get into a market-oriented world, then brands are the ones that drive the market forces. We once heard about the Brand Ghana office, and I'm still wondering what the Ghana brand is after 4 years. Can anybody tell me? But if I say, if you hear some jingle and you hear Truly Asia, what country comes to mind? Thank you. That is branding. What is Ghana?
Into Africa.
I wish Brand Ghana office to do something about that. So anyway, we would go into that and look at a few things about branding, brand personality, brand image, brand value, and how we can, as ourselves, brand as individuals, our businesses, our products, and everything. And I know the clothiers are trying to sell, and so they tend to think that branding is about just looking good. But is it really? Because I know two very well-respected people, and I can name several, who never wear very expensive clothes. Richard Branson, Bill Gates. Bill Gates doesn't wear $1,000 suit. But wherever he goes, his brand sells. Richard Branson. So, what is a brand? And what does a brand portray? Is it about image and style? What is the quality of a brand? What is the value of a brand? Is it perception or is it reality? And what we talk about brand identity and belonging, what does it mean? So we'll skim through a few of these and then just understand. And let's come back to our local setting. So way back, go from the cities to the rural areas. When you're looking for a filling station, what do they call every filling station? Thank you. And what is every newspaper? Graphic. And every cocoa beverage is Milo. And every washing powder is Omo. I mean, every toothpaste was So, you just identified a super brand. A super brand is instantly recognizable to its intended audience. And that's very important. The intended audience. You know? Because it has established a reputation. Whether that reputation is good or bad, it's money to establish a reputation. Okay? And it comes in two bits, the tangible and the intangible. And so there's something you feel about a brand that makes you want to pay money for it. I mean, who said all the brands that we spend money on, from handbags to shoes to sportswear, is anything significantly different about the quality than another, apart from the fact that one has a swoosh logo on it? So you're paying probably 30% for what it contains and 70% for the brand. But on the flip side is where brands actually portray quality. And that quality and image has been earned over the years. So we're confident that it's not just about something looking like. That brand gives you the comfort and the quality that has been earned over the years. And one example is that car parked out there. I mean, anything, can look like BMW, Mercedes. But come on, if it hasn't got the BMW Mercedes logo on it, I'm driving and I wouldn't have that confidence that the car will do what it says it does. Or even if it doesn't, maybe not for as long as it says it will do, you know? So that is it. So a super brand remains true to itself, but at the same time flexible enough to adapt to changing environments. So whether it was 30 years ago or it is this modern day, the Mercedes-Benz is looking different. But it's still the Mercedes-Benz. Of course, there's some brands when it comes to cars that have maintained the basic shape. Very little change. Porsche. 1965 Porsche Carrera 911. Same as it is now. Carries the same brand value, the same brand equity, and you will buy it and you pay. So quality, reliability, distinction when you come to super brands in terms of products. But again, let's look at these two people. Who knows the guy on the left? Who knows the guy on the left? Nobody remembers him. Nobody recognizes him. Do you know the guy on the right? Who's he? And last week, one of these competitions that Tiger Woods himself initiated. And Tiger Woods has been off golf for a long time due to injuries, and he's fallen from world's number 1 to 25. He came into the competition, and the opening day, at the end of the opening day, all the headlines, BBC, CNN Sports, everybody, Tiger is back. Still suffering from injury, but, limping, he's the last in the pack, X, Y, Z. And they went on and on about Tiger. And they said nothing about the person who was leading the competition. I mean, it was a no factor. And they said, listen, when Tiger is in the game, viewership is 3-4-fold. Now, when he's out of the game, whether he wins or loses is secondary. He is golf. Full stop. Anyway, the guy on the left, apparently, is the only man in the last 20 years who, for 3-4 years, overtook Bill Gates as the richest man in the world. Until last year, Bill Gates overtook him again. Yes, but who knows him? He's not a brand. But if I show Bill Gates now, you all know who it is. He doesn't wear the most fancy glasses and doesn't wear the most jackets. These are one of the best dressed pictures he has. Otherwise, he wears his check shirt and his cardigan and so on. But he is a brand. So there is a difference between just being an achiever and possessing a brand, because that brand can tend to live after you. Who's this? Thank you. The first time I actually met him in person, I was like, is this him? And it was by coincidence because we happened to be on the golf course together, so I went to say hello to him, and then we became friends. And one day, he calls me during a golf game. He said, what are you doing 24th night? I said, I'm not doing anything, sir. He said, come home. I'm like, okay, is it a party? He said, just come. Call your wife and come. Ask your other friend to come. So we all after he left, we all called each other. So some say, we should come. He's a phenomenal person in all respects. In all respects. And after that, we became tight friends. And we went home, and it was just the 4 of us, and him and his wife. And we stayed up till maybe 2 a.m. talking about nothing and everything. I mean, he's so normal, a person is not funny. But and I was like, so this is all that he's about. But out there in the world, he's a brand, You can see another prominent brand in the yellow shirt. Do you know who he is? Okay, it's not very, but it's about 2 4. And the aura around this guy is simply phenomenal. But this is how personality branding can. I mean, this guy set up a meeting to come and meet 3 presidents of Ghana on the same day. He set up the meeting to come and meet President Mills, President Kufuor, and President Rollins on the same day. He set up the meeting, and they all agreed to meet him. So he drove from Kumasi to come and meet them. He's a phenomenal person. So when we talk about developing your brand, this is what we're talking about. And whether it's your business or it's a product or it's you as a person, it goes around the brand value. And the brand value, if it's a business or a product, it doesn't come by default. You have to earn it. But that is why I talked about my company being almost taken over. And the stakes went so high that Pfizer decided, you know, something, we can't buy it anymore. Because you've put such a value on your services, your products, and whatever you stand for, that becomes the asking price. You know, one of these things went on the stock market a few days ago, and a few months ago, Alibaba, and it just blew the market away. You know, but that's what branding does. Now, can somebody tell me, or what do you think brand personality is? Because you see, when you take, yes, will you attempt?
So assuming you take a brand and then you can attribute an animal to it, or maybe you can attribute someone to it. Is the personality of the brand?
Not exactly attributing an individual to it, but it is the kind of aura that brand portrays, it signifies, you know. So, you know, you would want, there's some clothing brands that you wear it and you want somebody to feel that, yes, I'm wearing this label. Do you understand? You know, if you take the logos of this BMW, it's still a nice car, but you know, without the logo, you know, it's losing a bit of the personality of the brand. You understand me? So that's what you want to portray in everything you're doing in terms of a brand. And you know, for every brand, whether you're building it or you're sustaining it, brand equity is important. I talked about comparing two cars. You know, you can see there's some level of equity in those two brands of BMW and Mercedes-Benz. And if I was, you know, comparing this BMW and a Kia that looks like it, come on, it's a mismatch. It doesn't matter. Koreans have done very well, but it will still not be a BMW, trust me. You know, and so whenever we start to build brands around ourselves and around our products and around our businesses, it's important to see how we build that brand equity, where somebody says, if I don't get this, I want this because it's equally as good. Do you understand? You know, she's working Movenpick. She just reminded me, I forgot. But I remember when they opened, and then, you know, I told them I stayed at a Movenpick at Shamrock Shake. So they were trying to sell Movenpick to me, and I said, you don't have to sell it to me. I stayed at a Movenpick once, Shamrock Shake. You know, nobody has to sell Movenpick to me. But the only thing that will pose a risk to you is when Kempinski opens, because it's another brand. Forget about going to it and all those things. You know, they don't hold the same brand equity. But that's what we're talking about. And then, you know, for everything, you're building the Trotsky brand, you must have a strategy to build that brand. You must have a strategy. You know, it's like a business. Building a brand is like a business. Whether it's about yourself or it's about, you know, I mean, come on. You know, we've got some music stars and we think they're good, right? Like, you know, Shatta Wale and, you know, trust me, if Shatta Wale walked in here, I wouldn't know who he is. It's true. I don't know who he is. I mean, I struggle to recognize the guy, Sarkodie. I think now maybe with a little help I can identify Sarkodie.
What about
Kutuichi, if I close my eyes and it's dark and he's here, I will know it's
Why?
He's a different brand. You know, it's a shoulder above all of them. You know, so is Iron Boy.
Yeah, man.
You know, so is Iron Boy. I mean, come on. You know, so these ones, they come and they fade away. You know, and you know, you hear the music now, and it's 3 years away. You don't want to hear that music again, but you still want to hear Daddy Arama. You know, you still want to hear the old Kodri trees. And if he does a show now, you know, I was in South Africa. I hear November he had a show. I hear it was out of this world. You know, I used to go to his shows 10 years in a row every year, except I'm out of the country. Kodri trees is a different brand. So, you know, some of our people, we claim they won awards in Africa, whatever, dancehall music, Shannon Beck. You know, who knows them beyond Ghana? But Angelique Kidjo, when she talks, goes on BBC and CNN, right? You know, so I think we have to raise the bar in this country when it comes to, you know, and that brings us to brand transformation or development. Because in this country, I don't think that we're doing that well enough. So it's all about being unique. It's almost like it's a chess game. You need to checkmate.
Sorry about this, but your car is like leaving now.
All right.
Can I get your driver?
Yeah. No, there's no driver. I don't
No,
like driving.
there is a driver.
Oh, okay. So, as you can see, these are some well-known brands. You know, and some brands have overtaken others. So again, talking about building brands, I remember when I was a young boy growing up, when it came to credit cards, everything was American Express. It's amazing how many people now use American Express apart from Americans. Because everything is Visa or MasterCard. At what point did Visa and MasterCard outbrand American Express? You understand? You know? So, these are some countries that brand themselves, and it's amazing how they do it. And these are different brands, again, about countries, and I don't know how Ghana tends to brand itself, you know. But then, like I said, whether it is leaders in government, and you know, they don't all have to brand good, but they're doing something to brand themselves. I mean, this North Korean guy, I mean, he came onto the platform and in 2-3 months, everybody knew who is this guy, you know, who goes around and makes his bodyguards do press-ups in the snow naked, you know. But, you know, so whether it's sports, business, religion, etc., people carry a certain brand connotation, you know, and good or bad, it's all about branding. You know, so now, even churches, religious leaders, now they're branding their, you got to brand. Okay, give me an example in Ghana. One church rebranded itself. Perez Chapel. It used to be what? Word Miracle. And then they that whole thing, Word Miracle, it's not posh enough. Yeah, these days everybody thinks it's then one of those miracle places everybody comes to. So let's make it a bit international and a bit Perez Chapel, yeah. And then, so yes, it doesn't matter whether it's a business, whether, unfortunately Ghana as a country, we're losing out on that and we're not appropriately branding ourselves. I mean, take the football teams, and it's unfortunate I didn't put my team here, but we have branded fourth on the league. Virtually we are in the first four. Doesn't matter whether we win, but we will be in the first four. We will be in the first four. So this is important, personal branding and achieving that level of personal branding. And you can actually influence others because of your personal brand. And sometimes you actually inherit. Give me an example here in our schools. Exactly. So the first brother goes to the school, he makes a name. He's leaving Form 5, his younger brother comes and straight away he carries his nickname and he becomes popular overnight. Meanwhile, people in the school they didn't even meet his brother, but they heard about him, they gave him the name, and he's inherited the brand, and he moves on. So branding cuts across in every aspect of our lives, and how you paint your self-image is what personality branding is all about. But again, in doing all this, it's very key that you know who you're selling the brand to. So know your target audience and know what qualities appeal to those, whether it's a product, whether it's a person, and then you work on enhancing it. Because that is how you will then sustain the brand. You know. Now, creating a buzz about the brand is important. I mean, right now, I'm going to go on this Trotsky and just check out your blog, and because it is, it blew my mind. My own daughter is part of some group. They came for the Ashesi Innovation Experience thing, the first one. They have something called the juvenile community. She's well, you know her because you have some characteristics. Yeah, she's the editor of the juvenile community. Yes. Oh, you were there. You were one of the mentors doing the thing. Yeah. She won some public speaking thing there. Yes. So you should be remembered for something. I didn't mention her name, but as soon as I started, we resonated with something. So already she started branding herself.
Of course, I was such a wonderful time.
And then you polish your brand. So, these are the two ends of it. Whether it is the behavior driving the attitude or the attitude driving the behavior. But then you know that you have to absorb the fallouts and the errors. So there's a way of creating that loyalty and compensating for deficiencies of the brand. And whilst communicating your brand, know yourself, be consistent. But it's quite an interesting statement. Being consistent whilst maintaining dynamism with the environment. So like I gave the examples of the cars. There are things with Mercedes and Porsche and BMW that don't change. So they're consistent, but they're maintaining dynamism. And then there's some cars that change completely. You don't even recognize the old one from the new one. And so in branding, you keep that dynamism when you sort of. And then brand value, we've talked about it, so we know what brand value is. The difficulty is actually sustaining that value in an ever-changing and challenging world environment. So some brands have lost their value, and some brands will maintain their value. And again, it depends on who you are playing to. And I ask years normally that, are you into fashion or are you into style? And sometimes it's quite different, and some things can be fashionable over a period, but some things have a perpetual style and this thing. So, Giorgio Armani suit, which is 30 years old, still is a Giorgio Armani suit. But a Kalkani will only last 2 years. So again, the influence of self-worth, the track record, look the part, sound the part, maintain the contact, build relationships, but at the same time be innovative. Reputation, eye on the ball, consistency, passionate. Passion drives almost everything these days. And the passion has come from within, and talk about Steve Jobs and Apple. He never gave up. And that same passion that he drove Apple with. He was the founder of Apple, and the company he founded fired him, and then he came back, struggled with it, turned it around, and it was just in the last 10 years that he made that hit and transformed the world. and it's very interesting. He was so passionate about everything Apple that he was developing the next item. They claim up to about 2 hours before he finally died, he was still working on Apple programs on his hospital bed. That's how passionate he is. On the flip side, Bill Gates as well. So passionate about that whole thing about Microsoft and Apple that they once asked Bill Gates, do you have an iPad? He said, I refuse to answer that question. But it's actually interesting. My brother works at Microsoft, head office, actually. He used to be there, he's a trustee. Yeah, my brother used to be working with Patrick at Microsoft head office, yes. And you see how Patrick, up till now, still talks Microsoft. It's almost like a brainwash. No, I'm telling you, if you work in that organization, especially at the head office level, you think that nothing matters apart from, before my brother got married, I had to go flying to Seattle and throw away some things because I said, listen, you're getting married to, a nice Ghanaian woman now. Buy some things without the Microsoft logo for goodness sake. No, everything, his socks, his sweatshirt, everything had a Microsoft logo. I said, well, is it a church? But that is what branding is about. When you get there, they just indoctrinate you with a brand. And that is why these brands have become so successful. The people communicating the brand believe in it. They believe in it, and you have to believe in it, So, the influence of a brand is critical, and it's an identity. And if you want to build a brand, always make sure that you're exhibiting some kind of identity that you can put a finger on and put a value on. So, the question to you is, moving on, how do we rebrand ourselves as individuals, as business, as products we're selling, and most of all, as a nation Ghana? How do we brand ourselves? Thank you. Any questions?
So, any questions for Mr. Ford?
Go ahead.
Hi, sir. My presentation. My name is Tony Senna. I'd like to ask whether you've heard of the brand Houseman Shoes before.
Yes, I've heard of your brand.
Of my, I guess a brand, not mine, a brand.
Why, are you not the brand?
Okay. Well, if you have, then I think that we are doing well. In one slide, you showed behavior influencing attitude and attitude influencing behavior. I want you to elaborate on that.
Behavior is what you do, okay? And the attitude is what you portray. Are you getting it? So you saw that, let's see. At the end of the day, behavior is a bigger part of the pyramid because how you behave would influence what you portray. And so it's very important that the right behaviors are set. And the behavior of the boss would influence the attitude of the staff within the company. So it's always good that we get the right behaviors because otherwise the wrong attitudes would carry out the wrong impressions and will build a certain, and you walk into the typical Ghanaian customer service setup. The behavior of the person, and today I was somewhere and this guy was going for a certain service, and in just the first 2 minutes said, listen, I don't like the way you're dealing with me, I'm a customer. You know, but on the flip side, the country is doing well. Honestly, the way the behaviors are, you know, it just transcends. You know, and you see, we marvel at the Emirates and Dubai and so on. The people there, the indigents are 15%.
Wow.
Maximum 20% are the indigents. 80-85% are all foreigners working there. But when you come, they inculcate the behaviors in you, and you gotta have that right attitude. Otherwise, you're back out of the country. You know, and customer service in some of the hotels is mind blowing. You know, so it is something we lack over here. Honestly, I mean, we don't understand it.
Coming back, isn't it because Dubai or Abu Dhabi or whatever, there were plans, there was a strategy to go out and create something. So they went out, you know, to say, in an airport, in a hotel, and at the airport, this is the behavior we need, at the hotel, this is the behavior we need, and there should be some kind of relationship between those two places.
Because they had a master plan. We have a master plan. I think not. You know, in March, I've been to Dubai, and I'll tell you something. I started going to Dubai in 99, 2000. And they tell me that by the mid-90s, the tallest building in Dubai was barely higher than the City House. Or in the early 90s. So they have the world's largest building. The Gulf and where the Atlantis is, you know, the marina, Dubai Marina, where the Atlantis and the world and this thing. I saw it being constructed right from the start. There was nothing. And every year you go, the place is mind blowing. And this year I went to Abu Dhabi and I took a tour. Formal tour. And the vision. You know, you went through the vision of the father of he virtually just decided to create everything there and transcended it into his children. And now, you know, Dubai itself is a brand on its own. You know, and watch out for what's going to happen to Abu Dhabi. It's totally going to be mind-blowing in several times the potential size of Dubai. But they're going in a different way. They're not going high-rise, commercial, steel and glass. They're going environmentally friendly. So they're more culture and environmentally friendly, but it's another piece on its own. But everything they do, they brand. It's amazing. Any more contributions as well?
I gathered from what you're saying, a lot of branding is visibility. It's in so many ways. It's the way you appear to people. For most of the people here, for most of us, we're small organizations that are starting. So how do we ensure that we are out there? People can, you know, because most of the time it's probably one person or two people who are trying to create this behavior and trying to create this attitude that we want people to buy into. How do you do it effectively with this?
Mr. Hoffman, I need
No.
your contact there. Okay. Now, it is, again, when you talk about visibility and exposure, fortunately, in this modern world, you don't need too many people to be visible. You just need the right tools and the right channels. So the world has become, when they say the world has become smaller, you know, it's amazing, but I sometimes don't know how we survived, because when I was in uni, there were no mobile phones, and there was no internet. And I don't even know how we did our thesis. It's mind-boggling, you know. But now, something happens, and like he said, he made a categorical statement that it's amazing that you guys have no idea how the youth know each other and they connect. But somebody is sitting in Legon now, never stepped foot in Kumasi, and knows 2,000 people on KNUST campus through Facebook and WhatsApp and all the Twitter and all the channels, and you'll be amazed at the way they communicate. I mean, I don't know how they do it. Because, you know, my daughter sits when she comes home and she's writing a story here and listening to something on an iPod, and, you know, it's searching something, then reading something on the Kindle, and then WhatsApping on the phone. And I don't know how you can tweet and WhatsApp and Facebook and read and type at the same time. You know, but they I don't know, they do them like that, you know, and they connect across. I mean, I'm like, have you heard this? Oh yeah, it was trending yesterday. I'm like, all right. But yes, there are various channels you should use, and unfortunately, we think advertising is branding. No, not necessarily. And even when it comes to advertising, you should know the channels that make the impact. You know, I always tell people that if I see a billboard which goes 5,000 Ghana cedis with a man falling off a cliff, tumbling down a cliff, and then it says SIC insurance and she can't buy a life policy, I won't buy it. It doesn't convince me. You understand? But let me see a billboard on a hot afternoon with a chill Coke sweating and somebody, you know, enjoying, and quickly I feel like I need a Coca-Cola. You know, if it's Friday evening like this and then I see, you know, a nice Guinness bottle or you know, or a nice Guinness advert, quickly I make a you a cup beer, make a U10 to plus 53 and go around. You understand? So, you know, people are copying channels because everybody is doing it, but it is different how you do it, you know. And I mean, our own Komlandimo, do people have any idea the impact he made at BBC? I am telling you, the day he died, the head of whatever BBC was like, called his team and said, what do we do? Because they just signed a multi-million pound, I think it was a 50 million pounds contract with the branding firm, with his images and everything, global, to use him on every. First of all, he was going to be the anchor for the World Cup, so they had done the work, they had started the work, they had signed the contract and everything, and they had to destroy everything.
And BBC too has financial issues, so this was a
It's them
serious
big,
loss.
you know, but that's the impact he had at BBC. You know, that they were prepared to invest so much and just gamble with one person. You know, so yes, there are various channels, but like I said, you know, I mentioned something about know your target audience. And it's very important. If you know your target audience, you will not waste money and time in your branding. I'm in the healthcare or in the pharma business, and I'll tell you, I mean, there's some of the products that we deal in. Those in the research-oriented pharma business, for instance, you know, sell 3,000 doctors in Ghana and so on, because the product is dealing in, there are only 20 specialists in the whole country who can use it. You know, so my colleagues at Roche, you know, they have this particular type of patient, this particular type of doctor, this particular type of person who, so he's the person you market to. You know, so if you know your channel and you know the people who will appreciate you and your service, you focus on them and then use the tools they understand. Sorry, and then you.
I need clarification on something. When you speak about branding self, you wrote be high-end. And I was thinking if my target group is people with low incomes, and then you say be high-end, how does it?
No, well, here I'm talking, you know, if you want to appeal to the high end. So it all depends on the target group. And it's very interesting. I mean, coming yesterday, I saw some plantain chips. I was blown away. And I asked how much it was. It's 2 cedis. Now, it costs the same as those tied in a rubber bag. You're a rubber bag and with staplers which can choke you and make you die. You know, have any of you seen it? Just came out recently on Hima plantain chips. You will think it's a foreign product. It's not in a bowl.
It's in the plastic.
Look at it, the choice packet.
Yes, it's yellow and green.
Yes. Your
Yes.
favorite color is crispy
Pardon?
by.
Acidas, yes. Beautiful package. You know, and straight away, if that person just decides to just do a little bit of brand awareness and marketing, I mean, you should blow everybody away or you will blow everybody away. You know? Pardon? Oh yes, I have a picture of it somewhere. I actually did take a picture because I was just impressed. Yes, Mr. Hoffman, you were saying something.
Yes, I want to ask personalities that build brands, or brands build personalities. For instance, if you take UT,
It's new, it just came out. And the quality of the packaging, it's amazing. You know, I don't know how they do it and still maintain a competitive pricing with those who are trying it in cotton bags. You know? Yes.
yes. So as I was saying, when you, so organizational brands are able to build personality brands. That is the people who lead organizations. For instance, UT and Amwabe, you cannot mention Amwabe. As soon as you mention UT, Amwabe comes to mind. As soon as you mention Amwabe, UT comes to mind. Just like Bill Gates and Microsoft. At what point should you divorce yourself from the brand for the brand to run alone?
There is no hard and fast rule, but you have to, you know, for every product, there's a life cycle of the product. You know, and so for every brand, the brand runs in cycles. And where the brand and the entity go in tandem will go to a point. And where you realize that there's sort of a plateau, just before that plateau happens, excuse me, you need to divorce yourself from you being the entity and letting the entity now stand on its own. You know, so it's like how you prop up something to a certain state, but you have to know when to let it go. So you gave Bill Gates as an example. At a point, he let go of Microsoft and concentrated on his foundation, made sure that somebody he trusted carried that on. And that was Steve Ballmer. It was with Steve Ballmer in Harvard first year before he dropped off. He knew him, they were friends, Now Steve left. The new Microsoft, can you remember his name?
No, I was just coming to that.
But Microsoft is still Microsoft. You understand? So he's managed to let the baby grow and stand on its own. You know? But it's not always that the personality get a personality when you get into the entity, more or less. You know, but he was a small time pharmacist who was trying some experiments. You know? Yes.
Last question.
No, go ahead.
How come super brands, all of a sudden we wake up one day and there are no more super brands? For instance, as the example was given, the generic name for toothpaste was Pepsodent, but now hardly do you even hear Pepsodent. Omo, what did they do wrong? What did they do right? I mean, so to speak.
Okay. Now, well, there is still Pepsodent, but things have
No, but see,
overtaken Pepsodent.
we knew Pepsodent.
But
Whether you, when you are going to look from your sleep, you know Pepsodent.
okay, I get where you're coming from with the question. It is because I talk about brand sustainability. Do you understand? And some brands, and then the dynamism of the brand. So you've just got to make sure that you can live through that life cycle and sustain it and make it almost, you know, it's developing a brand to become a perpetual brand. And most people don't know how to develop a brand to become a perpetual brand at infinity. And it doesn't matter what we're dealing with, whether it is sportswear or clothes, whether it is products, whether it's food, whether it is, you know, perfumes, name it. But some things will fizzle away because we can't maintain it. Mind you, it's a challenging world with a lot of competition now. And market forces drive things, and you need to move towards changing and adapting. And some people don't. Okay, so take the electronic giant for instance. Where's Hitachi? Maybe only in Japan. You understand? Whereas, you know, some brands evolved, and some brands almost died, and they adapted. HP almost disappeared, and then they resurfaced. Olivetti is gone. Because Olivetti never realized that we'll move away from typewriters. That's the main line of business, and you know. So, you know, some people started, they were typewriters with Olivetti, and then they, you know, evolved. So you need to evolve and you need to adapt, you know. Good. You wanted to sound something?
Okay, so when he was asking the question about Pepsodent, I was just thinking about brand position. Typically, Pepsodent is positioned as a family toothpaste. So if, as a growing child, growing up, my mom bought Pepsodent. So in my early stages of my now, Pepsodent is the toothpaste that resonates with me. Then you see Close Up, which is more of a, for the youth, getting them closer. So it's something that might resonate more with him because it's falling around his, you know, his
And they were marketing them.
and we're marketing.
They were marketing themselves.
So
I
we see
mean,
that.
from day one, you know, if McDonald's came to Ghana right now and everybody would choose, you know, Coca-Cola had an ambition that there'll be more countries than United Nations. You know? Yes. You know, and you'd be surprised that, you know, how Casablanca brand, that kilometers is all over in Nigeria. It's flying everywhere in Nigeria. They have something about it, you know, but it's important how we carry brands. Yeah.
Quick so substance and hype. I mean, both go together to promote a brand.
Exactly.
Now the question is balance. What's the right balance? And also the timing.
Substance and hype. At the end of the day, the hype will create a buzz. But if the substance doesn't live up to the hype, then the bubble will burst.
I like that.
You understand? The bubble will burst, you know. And I'll tell you something. At the end of the day, take iPhone. I mean, if more of a buzz pre-launch than Apple. I don't know what you're made of. You know, I mean, even iPhone 6, they make so much noise. I don't know who is using an iPhone here, but who uses an iPhone here? Any iPhones here? Okay. So they made so much noise, and then when they released it, the Samsungs of the ATC said, "So what? You finally caught up with the large screen." We were there 2-3 years ago, you know. But yes, at the end of the day, it has to live up to the hype. It may not live up to the total hype, but it should meet the minimum expectation. Otherwise, at the end of the day, everybody will throw it away, you know. And Samsung came on the reverse side initially, less hype, but trying to meet an unmet need. And they crept in like that. And now in every gathering, 70% are holding a Samsung. And Samsung has one ambition: to integrate phones with half of your devices at home. Trust me, 5 years from now, on your mobile phone, you'll start off your washing machine at home, you will switch on your TV, you will put your dishwasher on your microwave will turn on 10 minutes before you get home. Your air conditioner will turn on 15 minutes before you get home, because you will dial into it, and your fridge you can turn your fridge on and off whilst you are away on holiday by dialing into the fridge.
Assuming
But
we
that
have
is
power.
Samsung.
I feel
But
5 years, we would have finished.
no, it's too far. I mean, I'm telling you, it's coming so fast. Yes. So yes, but sometimes you need the hype. You need the hype. You know, everybody. I mean, the lady J.K. Rowling's. I mean, before she released a book, I mean, sometimes it's amazing how people brand themselves and how they hide their brands and their product. Because you would almost think that after the first 48 hours, there will be no more books in print. Why do you have 1 million people lining up all over the world to buy a copy of a book at midnight? But the book will still be there 1 week after. So why are you up at midnight trying to be the first person to read the book? But that's the essence of, as an author. You've just done something phenomenal to the youth.
To revise some track record, right? Because I was asking about timing.
Yes.
Does the hype come before the substance, the credibility, or is it the other way around?
It depends
Or
on the product.
you need to establish your track record first, and then you can say, at this point, I can use hype too.
Yes, I mean, track record is important. Otherwise, nobody will fall for the hype. Track record is important. So you can't copycat when it comes to hype, because you need to build some foundation of substance. Then you can now leapfrog with the hype. But then when you leapfrog with the hype, you have to catch up with the substance. You understand? Otherwise, then you run into a little difficulty as well. But yes, I mean, you have to interplay it at the right time. Yeah. And we do that with, product launches and all that. I mean, I remember the most phenomenal product launch. I guess you're all adults here. In the healthcare industry, in Ghana, the pharmaceutical industry, I've never seen a product launch that actually caused so much stir amongst men. And trust me, it wasn't Viagra. Way before Viagra, there was a product. And before then, it's a good product with Viagra. So there was nothing for male erectile dysfunction, nothing, apart company called Upjohn come out with a product. And I'm telling you, the launch was supposed to be 6:30. By 5:30
6:30 afternoon,
in
morning.
the evening, by 5:30, the room was full. And nobody, they kept the hype, but they never told anybody, not even the specialist, what the product was, except one or two people who had done some clinical testing and the key opinion leaders were coming to speak. So the room is full, and men knew that, yes, salvation is mine. You know, so they do all the scientific gizgas and, you know, and then they talk and talk and talk, and then finally they do the product launch, and then how does this product work? They release this product, it's an injection. Okay? Everybody goes, Alright. So how does this injection work? So urologist now brings a dummy and then starts with that. When they come, it comes to dawn upon them like, you are injecting on the thing. Everybody goes, oh no! But I am telling you, you know, but the buzz before this thing, yeah? And then suddenly everybody like, you must be kidding. So everybody goes a bit deflated that, you know, you've killed the product. But then they knew there was a need. And the country head then, Mr. Charles Donto, Fairmount Chemist now, he's a regional manager for Upjohn. So I call him Uncle Charlie. I said, Uncle Charlie, this isn't going to work. He said, yeah, don't worry. 1 week later, I passed by his office. He said, William, can you believe the entire stock is gone? Injection or no injection, the men need it. They all came under the cover of that. They all bought stock. No, the entire stock was gone in 1 week. You know, so sometimes the buzz is important, you know. So you need to create more buzz, you know. Good. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. A fitting end to our year at Third Friday. Thank you very much to you all for patronizing us, for letting your fellow entrepreneurs know, for coming every week, being dedicated. We hope we can continue the good work in 2015. We wish you all the best with your business endeavors. It's only fitting that I also say thank you to the people who supported African Entrepreneurs Hub. So my biggest thank you is to SEDLED Africa for giving birth to us, for cleaning us up so quickly, but they're still there, they're still holding our hands and taking us through. SEDLED Africa is an accelerator company, and they're in the business of making your business, running your business. So for you young entrepreneurs out there, you don't have the capability, well, not the capability, no. You don't have the resources to hire your own accountant, HR person, somebody to manage corporate governance and etc. Please speak to SEDLED Africa. They have a concise package that will support you and take your business to the next level. So we've come to the close of 2014 for SEDLED. Thank you so much. Please look out for www.heaub.org. More information to go up within the next week, actually, before the end of the year ends. Thank you so much, Trustee General. We hope it will not be the last time we hear of you.
No.
Greater things to come. We hope you've been inspired. You can take it back to our youth out in Ashesi and inspire them even further. So as we start, we end well. We say a prayer and end the day. Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for another very, very insightful, very productive session. Father, we ask that everything that we have learned is good guys last network after this session. You helped us have productive engagements and interaction, and take us back safely. We thank you. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Please don't leave. We have refreshments. Hang around, have a bit of service soup. Sweet Merry Christmas.
It's my first time here, and it's, I don't know how you feel, whether you use yourself or